Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm here to tell you guys about IBS, which is basically Crohn's and colitis. Um, it's about, let's see, 1:30 at night right now. I've had way too much coffee, so I figured I'd start a channel and tell you a little bit about my story. So, ever since I was about, I don't know, 5 or 6, I've always struggled with stomach issues, with whether it's constipation, diarrhea, all the fun stuff. No one could really figure out what the issue was. I tried probiotics, I tried laxatives, I tried everything, diet. We always just thought it was an emotional thing or stress or I just didn't want to do anything. It wasn't that I was not an active person. I was pretty active. I danced. I was always outside playing and riding my bike and everything like that. But just nothing really worked. And as I got older, I got sick a lot, and I had to get like doctor's notes to, be excused from class all the time to go to the bathroom, which was super embarrassing. It's literally like every class I was like, hey, I gotta go. So that's not fun for a, teenager in high school, trying to figure out what the hell's going on with their body. And I can remember a couple of times where I was just in so much pain, I had to be taken to the nurse's office because I was just like in excruciating pain, um, in the middle of the bathroom, and I didn't know what to do. It's scary I think I was like 14 at the time. And then there was another experience where I was at my friend's dance recital, and I was just in the bathroom, miserable. I had to call my parents to come pick me up because I could not get over the pain. And, again, we just said it was constipation, and it wasn't anything to, worry about. I just needed to, deal with that and take my medication for that, and hopefully that, it would go away. As I got older, it kind of went away a little bit, and I experimented with like smoking weed and stuff, and that seemed to help a lot. I wasn't doing that for that situation, but I was a teenager and, doing stupid stuff, which ends up being medical now. And then I met my husband, and I started getting really sick again. And I was like, what is going on? This is not normal. I kept going to doctor's appointments. Everyone said I was fine. I was just emotional. It was stress. And I was like, there's no way. I'm like, there's something wrong. And I really trusted my gut, and my husband was like, you really just gotta, push, and my parents were like, you just gotta push, we gotta figure it out. Thankfully, I had a very supportive family, and at the time, I had a really supportive boss too, which was great, because other bosses weren't understanding at that point. I always had like 2 jobs at least, but, it's hard to explain to your boss, like, hey, I can't come in a lot. I don't know what's going on, but I'm in pain. It's hard to believe someone like that, and I started to like think that it was all in my head too, because that's what doctors were telling me. So I saw a rheumatologist, and he did some blood work, and he was absolutely the most supportive doctor I've ever had. He was telling me that it's not in my head, and my blood work was showing that there was a lot of things that were off. He couldn't pinpoint it, but one of the big markers that came back were my IgM levels, which were massively high. They were, the normal levels are 200 and below, and mine were, I think over 800 at the time. So that pretty much means that your body is fighting something. So they were like, all right, so something's definitely wrong. And then the markers for Crohn's and colitis also showed up, which we didn't really pay attention to a lot at the time because it's very hard to diagnose Crohn's and colitis. And so I went to a GI specialist, and granted, he's still my GI and he's great. He just, I don't think he's as educated in Crohn's and colitis as I was hoping. So I went and got a colonoscopy. I was 22 maybe at the time, and it's scary going and getting a colonoscopy. You don't expect to get one until you're like 50 years old or older. And so I did that, and I just remember thinking, awesome, like I'm gonna get an answer, this is what it's gonna be, and it came back totally fine. And I was so frustrated. It's not like you want something to be wrong with you, but you also don't want to think that you're crazy. I was starting to think that there was something mentally wrong with me because I was just feeling all these things and I was constantly sick. I was in so much pain. I'm like, how is there not something wrong with me? So I was like, there's got to be something else we can do, something else we can test for. And my rheumatologist was really pushing. He's like, you got to do another test. And so there's this thing called a pill cam study, which is basically you get a camera, which is about this big, and you swallow it. So it goes and scans from your esophagus down, and then you actually go to the bathroom and it comes out. And you have to wear this big vest with a camera on it that it's a computer that monitors it as it goes through. And so that was the biggest test of my life, because that is the one test that found my Crohn's. And the reason it found my Crohn's is because my Crohn's is in my small intestines, and when you do a colonoscopy and an endoscopy, that can't reach there because it's too small. So the pill cam study actually showed that I had multiple ulcers in my small intestines. So this was like a life-changing test result for me. My doctor called and he was like, nope, you're right. He's like, you have Crohn's. This is what we're going to do. We're going to put you on Remicade and we're going to get you started with infusions. And so, that phone call was huge and terrifying and exciting and all the emotions. I'm pretty sure I cried. But it wasn't sad or wasn't happy. It was just like relief because I actually had an answer and I wasn't crazy. So, we started that journey on doing Remicade injections. It went from like once a week to once 2 weeks, and then once a month, and then every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks. And then I was also on 6-MP, which was, it's kind of similar to chemo, if I understand that right. And I was on a bunch of steroids, a lot of steroids. And that really, I felt good, but I wasn't sleeping, and I swelled up like a balloon. I'll have to post pictures one day of what I looked like from then to now. I was probably 50 pounds heavier in my face. They call it moon face from when you're on prednisone. You just swell, your body retains all the water that it possibly can, and you just look like an Oompa Loompa. So I was going through modeling school, and I was, recently married, and I just felt like horrible about myself. And I ended up getting off the steroids and the 6-MP. I'm like, this isn't right for me. And I still wasn't being taken seriously from doctors, which is so frustrating because they're like, I have this diagnosis now, I'm still not feeling 100%. I'm like, I just want to feel like a normal 20-year-old. Like, I don't have the energy for anything. I feel bad because my husband's doing a lot of work around the house, and I'm still missing work, and it was just exhausting. So, I kept pushing through and kind of just like letting things go because I'm like, I don't want to deal with another doctor telling me that you're fine, there's nothing wrong, your tests are coming back normal. So I was like, I'm just moving on with my life. I'm doing my infusions, and it'll be fine. So my husband and I decided that we were going to start trying to get pregnant. And once I got pregnant, I was told that this is going to be really good for your Crohn's. No. So the first trimester was horrible. I was sick all the time, and that's normal, like the morning sickness and everything like that, but when you have Crohn's, it's 10 times worse, because the nausea and stomach aches and stuff like that you already have are just amplified. So I had a good boss at the time that was very supportive of me being pregnant for about the first week. And then it was really hard for me first thing in the morning to get out of bed because I was just nauseous, I was dizzy, and I ended up getting laid off because they couldn't rely on me, which I don't 100% blame them, because I couldn't get into work, and I get that, but also I was pregnant. It's not like I was making it up, but so that really, really sucked. And so on top of that big blow, I was sick all the time. I didn't have a job. I was, growing this little human inside of me, and I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? So of course, stress, has a flare. And this is only like the short story. There's so much more to it where, I was hospitalized for different things and everything like that. But this is just the background to my insane life. But so I ended up finding another job with a amazing boss that didn't care that I was pregnant, didn't care that I had Crohn's, and actually was very supportive of my doctor's appointments, and very easygoing, and lets me take my daughter to work every day, which is insanely amazing, because if you're not having to worry about daycare and I can raise her instead of some stranger raising her, it's just phenomenal. But so basically, the second trimester was amazing. My hormones, how it works, I don't really understand it, and the doctors don't truly understand it either. But when you're pregnant with Crohn's, your second and part of your third trimester are like the best you'll ever feel in your life. It's like you don't have the disease at all, which is pretty crazy. I miss being pregnant because I felt so good, so good. I felt just amazing. And, that was, I think, the best I felt since I was probably like really, really little. And then as I got closer to labor, I started feeling really bad again, and it was just really rough, which I think is normal for any pregnancy. This was also my first pregnancy, so who knows for me how I would have done if I didn't have Crohn's. I ended up having to have a C-section, and because I have a really compromised immune system because of all the medication I was on, and I had to stop my third trimester to not hurt the baby at all, I ended up developing mastitis really bad. If anybody doesn't know what that is, it's basically when your ducts of your breasts get clogged when you're breastfeeding, and then it causes inflammation and an infection, and your body tries to fight it off, and you still pump, and it's horrible. And I ended up getting like horribly sick. It's the worst I've ever been in my entire life. 104 fever, in the hospital for 4 days, just miserable. It was horrible. And it was because my body couldn't fight it off, because my immune system with the immunosuppressant was just, it couldn't do it on its own. And after that, my body decided that it didn't want to take Remicade anymore. So my body produced antibodies to the Remicade, so it was fighting the medication that was supposed to be helping me. So I got very sick again, and thankfully I was off for the winter from work, so I was able to kind of figure this all out without missing work, which was great. And then I ended up switching not switching doctors, but getting a second opinion from a specialist that's actually specializes in Crohn's and IBS and colitis and everything like that, and she's great. So she switched me to Humira, and basically that is an injection every other week, which I hate needles. I absolutely hate it. It's like an EpiPen almost. I'll have to take a video of it one day, but I have to do that every, well, I don't do it. I have to have my husband do it because, oh hell, I can't do it myself. And it's super painful and I don't like it, but it's what I gotta do right now, but it's still not working. And I had to wait 4 months to get into the doctors again, and I just saw her on Tuesday, and I was telling her about all these really bad stomach pains I've been having and this like almost acid feeling in my stomach, and it's just horrible. And you know, some of it definitely probably is stress related, but it's also you're feeling like crap, so obviously I'm gonna be stressed. I have a 1-year-old I have to take care of on top of, you know, the normal housework and working like 30 hours a week. It's horrible, and it's really hard, and I don't think people talk about it enough. So she sent me for testing. So on, let's see, yeah, I don't know, I don't even know what day it is at this point. I went and got an ultrasound, and they checked my gallbladder and my liver, and I got blood work done, also check my blood levels, so white blood count, red blood count, iron levels, my hepatitis levels to see if my liver is functioning properly, electrolyte levels, a couple other things too. Vitamin B12 and vitamin D. So she's checking all these things to see if, you know, my basic levels are okay, and then if my liver and gallbladder are functioning normally. Because it's another thing that can happen with Crohn's is that, yeah, my Crohn's can be under control, but the inflammation could have spread to my gallbladder, producing gallstones, or my liver. It's very common with Crohn's to get those two. So I'm hoping that they come back normal, but I'm also hoping that something pops up, just because even if the blood work, just something's off and I know it, and it's just driving me nuts. I can't fix it. You know, I don't like taking medications. I don't do a whole lot other than the basics that I'm already on. But I've been taking Tylenol like crazy. It's just painful. So that's basically my quick update on my journey. So that's where I'm at right now. I still don't have answers. I'm hoping to get answers soon, but the reason I created this channel is because I'm still not mentally, I still don't believe the diagnosis that I have. Not that I don't think it's true, it's just that it hasn't sunk in yet. No matter how many times I've been hospitalized and how many times I've just gotten massively sick, it's still a hard pill to swallow that you have this disease that isn't curable. It's manageable, and it's not, you know, it can be managed, which is great. I just haven't managed it yet. And I was talking to my husband today about it. It's just one of those things that I don't talk about it a lot because I'm a mom, I'm an employee, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter. I'm trying not to be that sick person. You know, I have so much else I have to do. I can't lay in bed all day even if I want to. And right now, I really, really want to. I'm so exhausted, but I'm wide awake, which is horrible. And my little baby over here is sleeping, and I can guarantee you as soon as I fall asleep, she's gonna wake up. I don't know if you guys can see her, but she's sleeping. But it's really hard when she wants to play and she's in a good mood, and I'm just like horribly tired, and I just want to lay down, but I want I don't want her to see me as someone that's always sick all the time. I don't want her to know that there's something wrong with mommy. And because I know like how it's affected like my friendship with people, and not like with my husband, but you know that he's used to it at you know at this point. But you know he does put up with a lot with it, and I feel really guilty about that because there's nothing I can do, and he has to just deal with it just like I have to deal with it, and that's not really fair to him, because there's some times where I feel like because I have so much guilt about having this that, you know, he thinks I'm faking it, because all my doctors have thought I was faking it. All my bosses have thought I faked it. So it's always in the back of my head, because that really screwed me up, having so many doctors tell me that you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, like just get over it. And it's not a visible disease, and that's what's really hard for my sanity and for other people, because I look completely fine. Granted, this is 10:30 at night, no makeup, disaster. It's on a long day today, but this is me. This is what I look like. This is every day, unless I'm pale. Other than that, I look fine. But you don't see what's going on the inside, where my body's attacking my intestines, and I have migraines, and I have nausea every second of the day, and I'm tired all the time. You don't see that. And this channel is something that I want to educate people on diseases like mine, that just because someone doesn't look sick does not mean that they're not sick. And you telling them that they're fine just hurts their emotional state. And I think that's what's so hard for me to handle, is that I look fine too. Like how can I believe this disease when I can't see it, but I can feel it? And it's really hard to explain. But for those of you that are going through it, I know 100% what you're going through, because it really is hard, and it's really hard to explain to people what you're going through. And I hope this channel can help others feel like they're not alone, because it really is taxing on your body and on your emotional state. So hopefully I'll be making more positive, shorter videos. This is going to be my long first video, because I wanted to give everybody a bio of my life. Trying to think of anything else I can say. I'm not good with YouTube or any of this stuff. Hopefully I'll be able to get like a nicer camera to take videos, and I won't be doing them at 10:30 at night. But yeah, hit like, share, follow me. I'll be making more, hopefully, in that share. My gallery will be turning 1 soon, so I'm sure I'll be very, very busy in the next week or so. But yeah, so this is my journey, and I hope you will follow me on it, and we'll figure it out together.